better than a fresh tomato on your salad, is there? Kind of one of the tastes of summer, that and basil, huh? I'm putting basil in the garden this year. Typically we do. We grow it in the blocks around the edges. That's something you can add at any time. If you want to add some basil, just grab some seed and get them started. Do them just like lettuce. Just throw some seeds in the ground. Okay, these are interesting little guys. This is our jelly bean tomatoes. How funny. But better than no tomatoes at all. And sometimes seed mix-ups happen. So we'll just go with what we got here. I'm going to lean and lower these today because it's going to be basically 2 weeks before we get back and work with the plants. Because we're going to skip next week. Yeah, lots of little jelly beans today. Okay, this little guy down there. Now my garden sitter is going to harvest the tomatoes next Sunday, so everything will be harvested on schedule. It's really important to do that so your plants don't slow down in their production, especially the greens. You want to just keep harvesting along as usual. Okay. Here's my tomato harvest. And now we're going to work on the plants. Let's see, where do I even want to start? Start with some clips and some suckers. When I'm clipping and suckering, I'm also looking for bugs. I haven't seen very many bugs on the tomatoes, which is really nice. Something down here. Where did I see it? Yep, little sucker down here. There's a few aphid right there. Squish, squish. And okay, we'll clip as we go around. So I think I want to start with that one. So what I'm going to do here is find my string. Hello, string, where are you? Oh, you're really wrapped around, aren't you? Okay, I'm going to unclip this plant and we're going to move it. On this bar now. Okay. Well, that was not a good sound. Let me check this out. You okay? Yeah, it looks okay. Sometimes when you do this in the cool part of the morning, it's a little hard on the plants. Let's put an extra clip on this plant. It's pulling away from the string right here, and I'm just going to put an extra clip on it. Okay, what I want this guy to do is to start in our rotation. So I'm very slowly moving him around so he leans this other direction. And then I can lower him down like so. And then I have some height, some head height, so that it can grow tall again. Okay, and then typically, once I start leaning, I'll take off a few leaves at the bottom. Hey, look, a spinach plant. Don't need that anymore, do we? I usually keep about 4 or 5 feet of growth, so I can take the leaves off the bottom. And we'll have the leaves up on the top. There's a sucker right there. Okay, and I think I want to put a clip on it. Let's clip it right here. Now, probably in 2 weeks when I get back, it's going to be up over the top of the bar again, but then we're going to move it again, and it'll be just fine. Now, we're going to go get this guy in the back. And he's going to come forward. See, down he goes. Lean him over. And we're going to park him right here. So in our tomato greenhouse, we have about 200 plants. And we do this about every 10 days. We lean and lower the plants. And at the end of the season, the cherry tomatoes will be between 25 and 30 feet in length. But most of that's going sideways on the ground. And then the large red tomatoes will be about 20 feet in length. They're not quite as vigorous as the cherries. Which these cherries are probably going to pass some of these other plants. And I'll show you how to do that when we get the opportunity. I think of it as a racetrack, and we do have passing zones. Okay. Hello, little cherry tomatoes. My intentions in the other building was to have 30 big round yellow tomatoes and about 30 cherry tomatoes. But the same situation happened as here, so now I have about 60 cherry tomatoes. So I'm moving those plants a lot. Okay, now we're going to go to the back. And this is our other cherry tomato. Pull the string off. Oh, okay, you gotta be careful with the string because it pops the tomatoes off. Okay. This guy's also going to start leaning. Clip that there. Clip this here. I'm going to leave a few suckers in the top because I don't know exactly what these plants are going to be doing. And I could take some leaves off the bottom. Anything going sideways, I typically just clear. Okay, cherry tomatoes are set. And let's look at this guy. He's got to come around the corner too. Got to detangle my string. Some nice tomatoes hanging on this plant. There'll be some good eating going on pretty soon. Okay, it's early in the morning, it's a little cool out here. If you're moving your tomatoes, you just want to be super careful with them because they can snap off. Now, I have snapped some off to where they're like half broken, but not all the way. And you can take some like popsicle sticks and some electrical tape and you can splint it just like you would a broken arm. And I've had those plants live and do just fine. So if you do crack one, go ahead and get some tape on it and some splints and give it a whirl. You know, what do you got to lose? But it does work. Okay. Put that there. Looks like I got any suckers. Yeah, at the bottom. Clear down here. Could always tell the suckers because they got the bright green growth. I'll take off a few of these leaves. Removing the leaves helps get some air circulation at the bottom, and it helps stop some of the mildewing and rot that could happen. Okay, where does this guy go? Right there. Huh, another spinach plant. Looky there. Not doing too much now. Got a weed, one weed. Okay, this is our sucker plant, and it's already almost as tall as the others, but I'm going to go ahead and pass it because I need this guy to be over there and I need some space. So we are going to pass. First thing I got to do is get my string loose. They get a little tangled just because the plants have grown up through them over the weeks that they've just been sitting here. But they don't tangle as much once we're moving them because you untangle them and then they are loose. Okay, so to pass, I'm going to take this guy. I can go either to the inside or the outside. I'm going to go to the outside today. And you just literally go around it. And now you can get a good look at the sucker plant. He's growing quite rapidly. Okay, and then usually I put the top about 6 inches away from the top bar, and then that gives me a couple weeks to let it grow up and get tall again. And we'll take some leaves off of this one. So we could go in perpetual motion like this. They say a tomato plant will grow for about 7 years. But what I find after they get about 30 feet tall is that I think it's hard for those roots to push nutrients that far up the plant. So if you live in a place where you can grow tomatoes year-round, I would probably replant them at least once a year. But this method would work pretty good for quite a while.